What's up, boys and gals? Today, this is your boy, That Black Oni, coming to you guys today with a talk about the favorite series. If you've seen the description down below, then you actually know what's going on and you're a step ahead of the rest. Or if you've seen what this video was when you clicked on it, you're also still ahead of everybody else. Anybody else who is left behind, I am sorry. But let's go ahead and get started. Today, we'll actually be talking about the reason why 1, 2, and 3 were literally the best of the Tenchu series. And mind you, this is my personal opinion. If someone feels offended about it, I can't help that. But once again, I actually truly enjoyed this series, actually grew up playing this series, and we'll actually talk about 1, 2, and 3, in which 1 being Stealth Assassin, 2 being Birth of Assassin, and how that's the prequel to 1. And also we'll talk about Tenchu Wrath of Heaven. And I hope that you guys actually enjoy this. It's not going to be a long review. I'll just be explaining a few things today. So just stay tuned with me. I hope you guys actually like this. Okay, starting off with Tenchu 1. We'll also have to put Tenchu 2 in the same placement since both of those games were put on the PlayStation 1 and also had a very nice following behind them. One thing I actually want to talk about is the basic fact that both of these games were made on the same engine. So I would have to treat both of these one in the same, really. Starting with Tenchu 1 Stealth Assassin, this game right here actually kind of made the exact formula of what a sneaking game or stealth game should have been, or should be at least. It had the whole entire decent storyline, starting off with the simple fact that you would play with either Rikimaru or you would play with Ame, and the simple fact that you would go on these missions that would give you a briefing in each and every mission that you went on. That was something new really towards me when it started off with this year of gaming. One thing I can truly say is the build up towards gaming for this year. We had a lot of stealth games, like where you had to be silent, work with the environment that you had, pay attention to your surroundings. And that was one main thing that I really liked about this game. In and odds to it was, it started off really basic. It started off with simple jump to you chasing away bandits or slaughtering them. And I thought that that actually worked very well in the way that it built up. So why do I feel a certain way when it took a left field to bringing undead people back and, you know, like evil type spirits? I think that was actually one of the good turns because it went in that bizarre area that I really wasn't expecting. Even as a young kid, I actually liked it more because of that, and the build up that it actually had just to turn out and ended up having to fight not only one supernatural enemy but fighting 2 supernatural enemies at the different times and events in the game. And I thought that that was actually set up very well. Like I said, mind you, the storyline was really nicely set with every twist and turn, and I think that was one of the main reasons I actually truly appreciated Stealth Assassin, which also flipped over into Birth of an Assassin. Now, I want to make this clear that the simple fact I actually like Birth of Assassin so much is basically because it was a mind you, this was way before Metal Gear Solid was doing prequels, all right? I actually had so many answers in the first game that the second one was able to answer. And man, did I have so many other favorite characters besides Rikimaru and Ayami that there was a third person, something you really didn't find out unless you played this game. A person who was part of both Rikimaru's childhood and Ayami's childhood that actually ties together the reason they act the way they do and the reason they've bettered themselves over time at being ninjas / assassins. And that is Tatsumaro. And this guy becomes literally at the beginning of the game, after all of Rikimaru's training and Ayame's training, becomes the leader of the Azuma Ninjas, guys. Like, come on. Like, he literally becomes the leader of the Azuma Ninjas. Starts off in the first mission in which you play to actually save Lord Goda from attack actually against his uncle, where he actually ended up slaughtering a lot of the people around the castle and also burning parts of it to the ground. But luckily, Rikimaru comes in to save the day. Mind you, I'm going off of Rikimaru's part of the story, so work with me here. Comes in, saves the day, and before he could give the killing blow to Lord Goda's uncle, he ends up slashing Lord Goda due to Lord Goda stopping Rikimaru from actually killing his uncle out of an act of kindness. That's pretty much what got Lord Goda here in the first place, guys. After the uncle runs off, they now have to exit out the castle through the secret passageway. After they exit out the secret passageway, now they hear the bad news of Lord Goda's wife being killed by the uncle and his daughter being kidnapped. Now Rikimaru has to actually travel, end up fighting against Oninaga, and just to find out that his best friend Tatsumaro is actually fighting against some mysterious woman. She's not important right now. They're on top of a cliff, and all of a sudden the cliff ends up breaking off and they plummet to what it seems is their deaths. After Rikimaru and Akame ends up losing what they think is their best friend due to a battle on a cliff, they end up going back to report this. After they report it, there's new threats that end up happening due to Onikage, and now they have to prepare for this coming up battle. After all of that, mind you, fast forwarding, they find out that Tatsumaro isn't dead. He actually ends up with some serious type of amnesia and now is the leader of the Burning Dun, and which makes him a bigger threat. They find this out, they end up foiling his plans, and what happens? Tatsumaro, with the guy who also has amnesia now, ends up attacking his home village, in which a lot of people are now elderly in this village and cannot really protect themselves, nor did they really stand a chance in the first place. Lord Goda and their ex-leader team together to fight against this problem. Lord Goda ends up being knocked out, and now Tatsumaro is fighting against his former leader, to just find out towards the end that he killed his father in the past due to, I guess, treachery. That really wasn't explained a lot. It was just that it came back to hunt him, with Tatsumaro killing his own leader. Rikimaru steps in, he finds out, and he ends up getting the famous scar across his eye that we all love and is now defenseless. But that's before Rikimaru ended up getting the upper hand on him. But since he could not kill him, he ends up with the scar. Very sad, I know. Fast forwarding all the way to the main battle, because like I said, mind you, I want to make this short. So fast forwarding to the main battle, Lord Goda's castle is now rebuilt. Everyone is waiting for this huge attack, just to find out that Tatsumaro has had a huge warship built to actually fight against Lord Goda to demolish his castle. Rikimaru and Ayame steps in and foil that plan once again, actually killing the main female bad guy and going up against Onikage, killing him for like the third time, and defeating Tatsumaro, and finally revenging his master and getting the sword back which was lost. I think the main reason I actually enjoyed this part of the game was because, like I said, once again, it explained a lot of things. It explained the famous scar on Rikimaru's eye, and it also explains why Ayame is so bitter in the first game and has nothing nice to say at all to any of the main bad villains. And it actually makes sense. She was in love with Tasamaru. To see this guy die ended up breaking a part of her. She actually did not have the will to live until she thought about Lord Goda's daughter and bringing her will back to live to actually serve and protect Lord Goda's daughter. And that right there actually made a awesome continuous for the previous game of Tenchu 1 and actually brought that timeline full circle around. But it was one thing I actually forgot to tell you guys that actually made a lot of sense. At the end of the first battle in Tenchu 1 Stealth Assassins, he ends up being trapped in a cave after beating Lord Mayo. So he's assumed to be dead this whole entire time. Mind you, a couple few years have passed, assumed to be dead. And this is where we stop right here and we actually go on to our next chapter. This is when we actually talk about the Wrath of Heaven, and which is the game that came out on a whole new platform, PlayStation 2. Mind you, this game was made by Activision, but was actually still good. This is when Tenchu was still good. Don't get me started on Tenchu Z. So, going with that, you find out that at the very beginning of the game, Lord Behold, Rikimaru actually comes back from the portal in which Lord Mayo had opened up. And the only way he was actually able to survive that is actually going into a deep sleep, going through his way, fighting to actually try to figure out what's going on under the orders of Lord Goda now. Since he knows he's back, he bumps into a mystery character who's not only a assassin for hire, he's also a doctor. Kind of strange. But since he's not really part of the main story, we're going to go ahead and push that to the side. And it's a reason why I'm going to do this. Later on, ends up finding out there is a new threat that's also trying to resurrect Lord Mayo. But the way we find this out is that Onikaga, after dying multiple times in the previous games, and we find this out because he's back and he's just hell-bent on getting Lord Mayo's sword back to defeat Rikimaru, just so he could resurrect Lord Mayo. Onikaga finds the sword, but ends up getting his plans foiled by Rikimaru once again, and actually defeated in battle. Is when this moment that Rikimaru ends up finding Lord Mayo's sword and taking it away with him. This is not only at the chance that Rikimaru actually seems to be dead at the point when he's surprised by attack from multiple ninjas, and Onikaga being resurrected again stops him. But before he could do anything else, Onikaga is fooled because this is not a Rikimaru. This is his shadow, and Rikimaru this time is back to actually stop and fight him. There's also a mad scientist, in which I'm not gonna really go, like I said, once again, too much in depth. I'm trying to keep this short, but ends up bumping into a crazy mad scientist who also has a giant robot on his back, fights him, ends up winning that fight, going into another battle where spirits are now following him, and you actually have the option to form the original sword, the legendary sword by the Azumi ninjas that has this huge origin of going way back when. But you actually can fuse Lord Mayo's sword with it. When doing this, it actually makes the ability of Rikimaru's a lot stronger and actually able to fight this new threat who is come along. But before he can get there, he has another battle and another painful memory that he has to go up against. And that's his original friend, Tasamaru. And after he fights Tasamaru, Tasamaru tells him the secret of actually defeating this new evil foe. And it was a seal that was put into his eye years ago. Mind you, they don't bring this up in any other game besides this one, but it was brought up, and that was the only way that he could actually beat this new threat. Tenrai. His main goal was to resurrect Lord Mayo and control him to possess all of his powers. Now, mind, Tenrai was actually trying to rule the world with Lois Mayo's power. But since that failed, the only thing that he could actually do was use the power that he had and summon a little bit of Lois Mayo's power, in which ends up transforming him after he gets his ass handed to him the first time. This time it seems like he has an upper hand until the seal is awoken and his eye after it was cut. Mind you, he wasn't able to use this eye for some apparent reason after the damage, but all of a sudden he opened his eye up after being blind, mind you, in both eyes. He was able to gain his sight back, open up the seal that was originally locked in his eye, and actually end up beating Tenrai. After this is over with, end up saving once again the day and going on to live out as a samurai. Now mind you, one cool thing actually about this game, in which it actually had a multiplayer, and which was very unheard of for me at this time, that actually made it pretty cool. Like, I can't lie that I couldn't say I didn't play this game. I always wanted to see how Tasamaru moved, in the simple fact that he actually would use combos more than he actually would use his blade. He could block with the gauntlets he had on his hand. It just was set up to really enjoy a character and actually play with the comeback systems that they had. I thought that that was a really nice add-on. Some people would say it was a gimmick, but at this time it wasn't commercialized as that. You were actually playing this game for, not for the game itself. You were playing this game for also to experience the continuous storyline of it. Now mind you, there was another game that came out called Fatal Shadows. I'm not gonna lie, it was good for what it was, but my main favorite games of all times with this series ends with Wrath of Heaven, but starts with Birth of Assassin Tenchu 2. So that only leaves one in the middle. When it comes down to which one is my favorite game, I'm a sucker for a beginning, so I would have to give it to Tenchu 2 Birth of Assassin, because we actually get to see him build up to becoming an assassin and being accepted as a ninja and continuing on this legacy all the way through 1 and 3. 3 being where the part where it pretty much feels like it ended until you see the cutscene with freaking Oni Naga once again coming back from the dead after being exploded. But that's another story for another day. I hope you guys actually like this video. I'm sorry how the abrupt ending, if it did come off that way, but like I said, once again, this was just something I wanted to talk about and actually do something a little bit funny and different. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more things or different things on my channel, please leave a comment down below. And also, if you didn't like it, tell me something about this that you did not like. This is your boy, That Black Oni, signing out in 3, 2, 1. All right, peace guys, you have a good one.